Howdy guys, welcome to the cave. I'm Mark, and you're watching Blue Street Customs. Howdy and welcome back to the cave. So I got another project, should be a fairly quick one. What I want is all of these. There's sparkles, crystals, things like that. I've got all kinds of them. Now, I got this box, kind of looks like a book. Right? And this is a box of chocolates. The chocolates came in it. And got a bunch of wooden letters, some twine, a little bit of foam rubber here. So what I've decided to do is make a book of potions, since they kind of look like little potions, right? So I'm going to hot glue this one down. And I've taken some of those colored floor mats that you put in kids' rooms and stuff like that. Cut them up to space it out. Makes it nice and tight in there. And a little bit of foam core on this side. So that one will get hot glued in. And this one's already kind of like a black velvet type thing. So that one's fine. This one here, what I've done is I've taken 1-inch thick XPS foam, cut it in half so it's about a 1/2 inch thick. Can't tip it up too far because it'll all fall out. And then I just took the strips and glued them all together. And then I've given it 2 layers of Mod Podge mat and tissue paper. Kind of give it this funky texture and stuff. So I'm going to paint this black. And then I'm going to probably do a little bit of dry brushing on there. I'm thinking maybe a little bit of red or something like that. Then what I want to do is take some of this twine. So I got to be able to get it out of the box easily, right? So I'll probably take some of this and glue it underneath on the bottom side. So it ends up like handles. And of course, like I said, I've got all these letters and shapes and stuff like that. Now I've already pre-marked out on the box. You can kind of see there where everything is going to go. And then I'll probably do some sort of Mod Podge and tissue paper on top of that to kind of give it this leathery look of a book. Probably do some other little decorative things on it. And then of course, paint that up. So first things first, I'm going to start by painting this black. While that's drying, I'll probably start gluing the stuff on the cover of the book. So give me a minute. I'll get out my paint, take these jars out, and I'll be right back. All right, we're all ready to go here. So just a little bit more about this. As you can see, I just used some polyurethane Gorilla Glue to glue all this together. Taped it down to a chunk of glass. Make sure it was kind of stayed compressed because that foam or that glue does expand. And you can see a little better here now with the almost like a paper mache. It's Mod Podged already, so it is sealed. It's hard. And to make all these grooves, I used my Dremel tool and just shaped them out and just kept test fitting the little jars so they all fit properly. So that's how I made that. So I got some black paint here. And I'm just going to coat it real good. Now I'm using a coarser brush because this is fairly textured. I want to be able to get into everything with no problems. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside to dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to do up all the edges. So my next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting all the letters on here and the decorations. So I've got everything pre-marked. Now I've already coated this box with a matte clear. And that's just to seal it because the water from the glue didn't want it warping this cardboard. And the glue I'm going to be using is just tacky glue from the dollar store. Now all of these came in little wood framework boxes type thing that came from the dollar store. So you can always find that as well. Now you can probably find it, other craft stores or Michael's, things like that. So go check it out if you're looking to do stuff like this. This came from the dollar store as well. It was just a big spool of twine, crafting twine or hemp rope, something like that. Now I've also got some EVA foam. I got this. It comes in sheets. I got this from the dollar store as well. You can get it from crafting stores. Once all of that stuff is on, just your regular household Kleenex, tissue paper, whichever, I split it in half and I just start laying it on using Mod Podge. I've already kind of laid out where everything's going to go, so I'm going to start by gluing on the letters. Now I'm not too worried about some overflow because I am putting the tissue paper on top to give it like a leathery look. So if there's a little overflow of the glue, you'll never see it with the texture. And if you do, well, it's just going to add more texture. Okay, so there we go. I've got all the letters and decorative stuff on. So I'm going to let those two things dry. When that stuff is dry, I'm going to double check to see if the other tray needs another coat of black. I'll put the black on the edge. When that's dry, then we'll get on to putting on some twine around for handles to pick it up. So when this is dry, I'll be back. Everything's all glued on, nice and dry. Before I continue on the outside, what I want to do is take all this stuff out of here and hot glue that down so that as I work on the outside, as I'm flipping it around, that stuff doesn't come out. Also, I'm going to take my strings and hot glue them on the back side of here for this. And then once that's done and I'm ready to paint that, then I'll finish painting this, paint the edges here, and then finish the outside. All hot glue gun is going. So start by pulling this stuff out. Now these came in this package so they don't fall out, so we're good that way. Almost forgot that I had to put spacers in, so I had to work quick there, but I got it, no problem. So now we can pull these out so I can hot glue these back in. There we go. Those are all glued in. That's not going nowhere. Let that completely cool. Okay, so now that that's glued in, you give that a bit longer for it to completely cool. Fits in there perfectly. So while I've got the hot glue out, the way I'm going to keep this closed is I'm going to put some magnets in here. Magnets I'm going to use are 3mm by 2mm thick. So they're just going to be tiny, tiny ones. So we'll do that after. So now that I've got that glued in, those are glued on. We'll deal with this later. Now we can start the outside. I'm going to get some tissue. I'm going to get some Mod Podge matte for this, the brush that I use for it, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I've got everything here. So basically you can either put on full sheets or you can tear it up, put it on angles, depending on the type of look you're looking for. I think what I'm going to do though first is I'm going to just do one full cover this way, right? And then after that's on, then I'll tear things up to give it more of a jagged, sewn together look. So we're going to start that first. I've got my paintbrush. I got a bunch of Kleenex. So we'll get to it. But first, I almost forgot. I want to put these little spine ribs on. So what I'm going to use is this thin EVA foam. I'm going to cut them down a little smaller. And just put a couple pieces on here. Just like the old book bindings used to have, where they put the the rope in to tie the covers together and the pages together. So I'm going to cut this down. Now I'm going to cut it in half. Now you can make them rough, not perfect like that, or you can use a nice little ruler, make them nice and straight. I think I'm going to make them nice and straight. So you can glue that on any way you want. I'm just going to use some tacky glue. Okay, so while that's drying, I can do the top. Okay, so you see how I'm doing it and the effect that I'm getting with it. So I'm kind of going for that little leathery look to it. Now you can make more wrinkles and make it look like torn up flesh. You can, make it real smooth looking leather, whichever. I'm going to go for that old rough looking leather. I'm going to get the rest of this done. We'll get the first coat done and then I'll be back. Alright, so as you can see the textures and stuff that I'm getting. And I still got to do the end, but I'm going to put another layer on here and put one layer here. So you can build it up as much as you want to get the desired texture that you want. And I also wrapped it around the edges a little bit. I probably won't do too much on the inside yet. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do here, but I did wrap it around the edges. Now I don't know if I'm going to do the back or not, because this here will probably sit like this most of the time. So you'll either see this or this. I may give it one coat on the back just to, say it's there. Now I haven't decided how I'm going to do what would be the pages. I'm not quite sure how to put lines. Maybe I'll just use my knife and make a bunch of cuts in it. Then use just a sprinkle of water or something to maybe let it warp a bit. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to continue on. I'm going to put probably another 2, maybe 3 layers on there. Put a couple layers back here. So when I've got that done, I'll be back to show you. Like I said before, I got this side done. I've done some on here. And I've done some on the back, right? Not going to see this too much, but this side looks pretty good so far. Now, what I was thinking is I want mine to look like it was pieces of leather stitched together. I'm going to take some of this hemp rope here. Hopefully it works. Now, 2 pieces of leather butted together, so I need 2. What I'm thinking is going from something like here, kind of crossing around over to the other side. Kind of thing, something like that. Maybe back up a little bit. And then what I might do after, once I've got everything all set, I want a little bit of a gap so it looks like the leather rolls over from both sides. So what I might do after is take some little pieces and put them across to make it look like it was stitched together. I think the easiest way to put that on is probably a hot glue gun. So I'm going to give that a try. Hopefully this works. Now also with this stuff, it's hard to see, but as you can see, it's quite fuzzy. So what I'm doing is carefully taking a lighter and just burn off all that little fuzz. That'll give you a nice cleaner line, nice cleaner piece of string to work with. Not to mention it kind of smells like incense. Kind of weird. Maybe it's because it's hemp rope. Now of course, the more you try to work with it or whatever, it's going to fray up again. So once you've done that, try not to handle it too much. So I've got a bunch of pieces here. I'm going to do a piece here and see if it works. And well, either way, I'll be back to show you. Okay, so that's what I've got. Looks like, 3 pieces of leather that was put together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear off some small strips, just some small strips to cover all of this. All right, so I'm going to use Mod Podge, give it a good coating. That'll help glue everything down because all I did was glue the corners. All right, so that'll help glue that down. And then I'm going to put this over top, make sure it's tucked in inside, like on both sides. And that'll help make it look like leather. And it'll bump up so it'll look like the leather was kind of folded underneath and the stitching and stuff is raising it up a little bit. So I'll do that on both. And then once I've painted it, I'll come along after and put little pieces of thread in it all the way along so that it looks like it was stitched together. I'm going to cover those and I'll be back. Okay, so I've got the strings on. Doesn't look too bad, 3 pieces. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to base this whole thing in a burnt umber. And then from there, we can do some dry brushing and stuff. But I've got some gold leaf foil. I might just try and gold leafing some of this. I've got some gold leaf here. I get this. I got mine from the dollar store. I might be able to kind of gold leaf this, see what it looks like. Hopefully it works, because my original idea was to paint the letters and stuff like that a different color. We're going to start out with brown anyways. So the brush I got's a little stiffer, not as stiff as the one I was using for gluing down the tissue paper, just because this is such a heavy texture. Now you get the idea of what it's roughly going to look like. Might take 2 coats. Make sure that you get every spot. So I'm going to finish this up. I'll come back and I'll show you. Okay, guys. So this is what I've got so far. Now, put some gold leaf on there. Looks pretty good, I think. Did some dry brushing. Still got to dry brush the back and the spine. I think that looks pretty good. But I'm going to end this video here. So make sure you stay tuned, because I'm going to finish this off. And I should be posting the other half of this video on Monday. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you can get notified for when I post videos. Also, check me out on Instagram at Blue Street Customs. I usually post things there, so you might get an early look at some of this stuff. Also, check me out on Facebook. I post things there too as well. So until then, later.